everybody, it's Janine. I'm excited about today's video because I'm going to do a sample Studio J layout with you. Now, if you've been on the team for a while, you know that a couple months back when we had the Studio J special in March, I believe it was, I showed everybody where all the Studio J kind of how-to videos were at, and I hope you guys watch those, and I'll come back to those another day for our new consultants. But for today, I'm actually just going to go put together a very basic sample layout so you can see how easy it is to use Studio J. So when you're on the consultant website underneath Studio J, there's all these different things that you can go to learn and watch the videos and everything. But what we're going to do is just click on Access Studio J. Before I do that though, let me just show you what I do to sort my pictures to get them ready to use in Studio J so it's a little bit easier. I will go ahead, I always upload my pictures from my phone to my computer just so they're really easy for me to access, but you can do whatever it is that you would like. So I put these in folders based on the month and, you know, chronologically, and then I also put them by the date and what the actual event was. And then once I've done that so they're stored and I can use them forever, I decide which ones of all of these I'm going to use. So, for example, today I'm going to be working with pictures of my son's broken wrist, and you can see I've got a bunch of these here and some more in this one. I usually just put together a temporary folder. I'll delete that later after my layout's done. And I pull all the pictures that I want to use to scrapbook into this folder. And you'll see why that's important when I'm ready to upload. So I actually only have 6 pictures here that I'm going to be using in my scrapbook layout. So rather than try to look through one at a time, I do that in advance. So all I can do is just upload the pictures I want to use. We'll come back to that and you'll see why that's important. So we're going to go ahead, after you've logged in, just click on Access Studio J. You can also get to this same website by just going to, you know, the studioj.com address. But just know that when you are already logged into the consultant part of the website, when you click on that, you shouldn't have to add in your email address and password and all that kind of stuff again to log in because you're already on the website. So for consultants, that's an easy thing to do. Your customers can just go ahead and go to studioj.com. Understand your customers will need to create a username and a password if they've never shopped on your site before, if they've never played with Studio J, just so that any of the projects that they create in the future will be linked to them. So that's kind of a basic thing. So here's the basic page of Studio J. And I'm not going to go through all the aspects of this because that would take a little more time. I'm going to show you the basics though. So I'm going to click on Create a New Project. Now, whether you do one layout or if you're doing a whole theme album, you can name it what you want. I'm just going to go do this one layout, so I'm going to put Gabe's broken wrist. This will just help me access this in the future. And then just click Create New Project. And the first thing that we come to is that you want to start uploading your photos. You can do this later if you want. I go ahead and just do this now because I've already sorted through my pictures and I know what I want to do. So when you click on that, it's going to take you right to your computer. So that's kind of nice. So I'm going to go back to that folder where I kept all of my pictures, and I'm going to highlight all of these ones that I am going to be using for my layout, and then I'm going to open them. You can't click that because I don't have that, or you can't see that because it's not on the screen. But I'm going to just open those and it'll automatically start uploading them right to Studio J so that you can start working with them. Now, because Studio J is such an incredible program, it does take a minute for things to load. So don't get discouraged. Know that if you're somewhere where it's like dial-up and it already is a little bit slower, this is going to take quite a bit of time. So you might want to work at a friend or family member's house or somewhere for Studio J so you can get there a little bit easier. Now, when you're looking at your pictures, the way you look at them is the way they're going to be showing on your layout. So the easiest thing for you to do is change them while we're looking at them here. So I don't want this picture to be sideways. If I put my mouse over this, if I change my mind, I don't want a picture, I can click the X, it'll delete it. If I want to see it larger, I can click that plus and it'll open the picture bigger so I can look at it. And if I need to rotate it and turn it, I'll click this, which I do. So I'm going to click that and you'll see that it rotates the picture. So I'm going to go through and rotate these because it looks like pretty much all of them need to be rotated. Once I'm done with that, I'm ready to go to the next screen. So just click Continue. You have the choice of doing Express collections, which are basically layouts that are totally done for you. There's not as much personalization. You just upload your pictures, or you can create your own. This is the one I'm going to show you today. So go play with the other one, or if we have time, we may do another video on that another day. So this is going to start loading the kits. Now when you are looking through our idea books right now, you have 6 to 8 paper packets and themes to choose from. So like in our current idea book, this shows up. The first thing on here is the new kits. These are all the papers that we're familiar with this from the new idea book. Those aren't the only ones you have to use from though, because the cool thing about Close to My Heart is that once a paper packet is retired and you can't buy it anymore in paper, don't worry about it. You can still access it on Studio J. And let me just show you how many you have to choose from. You can go ahead if you're looking for a specific kind of paper packet to narrow down. You can click on a different theme. Like I just want to see all the ones that might be good for like school or kids or friends. And it'll just give you a lot of different choices. But let me show you the cool thing. I'm just going to click on all. This is going to show every single kit. And I think there's like 100 and I don't even know. There's like more than 100 though. I don't remember. I have it written down. But scroll through these and look at all of these papers. If you're a new consultant, you will have not seen most of these. And some of the consultants that have been with us for a while, you might not have seen some of these either. There are a couple in here that are exclusives to Studio J. So for example, this Class Act, that's one that's actually never been in print in paper. The only place you can access this is Studio J. So there's some exclusive stuff here you haven't seen before. But look at all the choices that you have. So for me to decide, I'll either go through and choose one of these themes, or maybe I'll just look at some of the colors that are featured in my pictures and find one that will just accent really nicely. So I'm not going to take too much time because this is kind of a sample layout. But in that, I see lots of blues and purples. There's kind of some neutral in the back. So I'm just going to look through here really quickly until I find one that kind of jumps out at me. And know that once you've chosen that, when you go to put your layout together, if you don't love it, you can go back to the previous screen and change it and get something else, and that's really kind of nice. So I think I'm going to use this one because he's got some blue in that picture. So I like this. I'm going to highlight this. You're going to see it highlighted in yellow, and click Continue. So that is going to be loading all of the kit data, which is the papers. It'll actually load stickies or complements, whatever accents that go with it, it loads all of those. Now here's the neat thing too. You have lots of different patterns to choose from, and these look just like the ones from all of Close to My Heart's how-to guides. So this is the fun part because you can go through and look at every single one of these if you want, or if you want to narrow it down, they have done that for you too. Right now this has all patterns selected, so this will show every single pattern that Close to My Heart has that you can choose from for your layout to look like when it's done. Or if you know you have a certain number of pictures, let's see, I have 6 pictures on here. So let me just see what options I have for 6 photos. And they will pull up all the ones that have 6 photo boxes. So that's kind of a good place to start because it gives you a little bit of flexibility. So I'm going to look through, and you know what? I do like a couple of these. So I'm just going to do a test one. I'm going to choose this one, okay? So highlight that, and we're going to click Continue. And then the next thing that it does is it loads your kit mixes. So it'll take the pattern papers and cardstock for you and give you some options to see which one you kind of like the best. Now don't stress too much if you don't love it because you can change every bit of the papers later. So I don't know that I love any of these, but I probably will change the paper later. So I'm going to go ahead and just select Kit Mix 2 and then click Continue. And then this is creating the layout. This is another place where it does take a minute to load all of this because keep in mind they've just loaded papers and stickies and the kit mix. So if it takes longer than 5 seconds, don't stress out. It's fine. So what we're looking at is basically a finished scrapbook page layout with pattern paper, cardstock, everything laid out where it's supposed to go, your photo boxes, and they even have some embellishments like buttons, ribbons, and those are pretty standard on all of your layouts. So here's where it gets kind of fun. All that I need to do from here is click a photo and drag and drop it into whichever photo well that I want. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and put, these ones are kind of the end one of my son with his cast. So I'm going to pick this up, and you're going to see there's a red X on it. That means I can't drag and drop it there. I couldn't drag and drop it here because that's paper. But see how it changes to a green plus? That means that's a photo, and it's on top of a photo well, and I could put it there. I don't want it there though. I'm going to put it right here. So that's loading, and then while that's loading, I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to click and drag it, and I'm going to put it over here. and it automatically populates itself right there in your box. Now, the cool thing about this is if you're looking at this going, I don't love that, his head's cut off, don't worry about it. Grab this hand tool, and if you click on that with your mouse, it will let you move this picture wherever it is that you want it. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. And same with this. If I didn't love the location of that, I could move this a little bit too until I had it exactly centered where it looked good to me. This is the great thing about Studio J, is the flexibility that you don't have with standard scrapbooking. So that's kind of a cool thing. So now let me show you one of the pictures that I uploaded. I'll go ahead and just preview it here so you can see it. And I'm a big fan of doing this. If you're on social media, like I love Facebook, and I put a lot of things on Facebook about my family or whatever. This is something that after I posted on Facebook, I saved that whole collage that I made, and I went ahead and put that in the file so that in the future I can remember that here's what I saw on Facebook. And so that's kind of a fun thing, and I'm going to include that in here too. So when I'm looking at this, this is like just a big square basically. And I don't really have a square except for tiny squares, which you aren't going to see. I want to put this that I just showed you right here, but it's not really square, it's rectangular, and I want it to be a little bit bigger. So here's what I'm going to do. If I click on a photo well and I want to change it, right now it's showing me that it's a 5x7 photo size. So whatever picture that I drag over, it's going to end up being 5x7 on my page. If I want to change that and make it bigger, I can do that. Let's say I want this to be maybe a 7x7. 7x7. You can see it automatically changes right there. Now, granted, the paper behind it is not going to change with it, but that's okay. I can figure that out later, or I can make this bigger. Let's say I want it to be 7.5 inches, and we will just, oops, that didn't work. 7.5 inches, and then I can move this and it'll just cover that so I don't have to worry too much about it. Maybe do it a tiny bit bigger. 7.75, 7.75. But you can see how you've got a lot of flexibility. So I'm just gonna cover that right up so I don't even have to worry about it. Now here's the cool thing. I can take this and I can click and drag this here, and it will populate itself in the photo to the size that I want. And now I've got that on my scrapbook page. So isn't this just a fun and easy thing to do? It is as easy as just clicking and dragging and dropping your pictures. So easy and so fun. So really in the space of just, gosh, 5 minutes really from the time I uploaded my pictures to deciding what pictures I want to put in here, you can have the basics of your scrapbook page pretty much done for you. And that would have taken a lot longer to sit and cut all of that by hand. So let me show you a couple of other things here, because this is just the basics of it. I'm looking at this picture and I like it, but he's kind of far away. I want to zoom in on him more. I like the location of the actual picture. That's probably okay. But if we click on the picture, it brings up that same box where we can change the size. You can also click on this scale and it gives you a sliding scale, and you can start zooming in. And you can do this with any picture. As long as it's in this area of green, it's not going to be too pixelated. If you get up into yellow or red, your picture might not look that great. So kind of keep it in this green area. And then I can go ahead and move him where I want him. And that's a little bit better, okay? So that's also flexibility. You do not have that with traditional scrapbooking. Now here's another thing while we're on this page that I do want to show you. When I'm looking, you see all of these buttons and ribbons. If you're not liking that, or if I don't love that there's a ribbon there, there's a couple things I can do. I can just click on it and I can delete it if I just don't want that embellishment there. Or if I'm going, I don't like that, and I don't like this one, I don't like this one, I don't really want the buttons there, you can highlight them each individually and delete them. Or if you just want to get rid of all of them, let's go down to the embellishments. And you're going to see this button that says show the toggle accents. That's showing all of these. If I don't want those to show and I'm not going to use them, I can just click on that and it takes them all away. And then I can add ones as I want to, or if I change my mind, I can go put them back. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave those on there because I'll colorize these in a minute. But you know what? This doesn't work with this picture and I don't want it there. So I'm just going to delete that one. Okay, now when we're looking at all of these other accents, these are automatically gray. They're just always gray. This just isn't really the color that I want to use with this. So if you click on this And then instead of clicking delete like we did with the other one, you've got this option of changing the color. And this is another thing that's really cool because you don't have to buy every embellishment color. This will give you the recommended colors that are in that paper palette. So you can start clicking on these. Do I like that? Yeah, kind of, but not as much. Let me try this blue. That's a little bit better, but actually I think I might like that darker navy. So click on that. Yep, that's the one that I want. So I'm done. And it has changed not just that piece of ribbon, but every ribbon on your page. So same with the buttons. I don't really want the gray. I can delete these if I don't want them, but I want to change the buttons too. Maybe we'll match those. So let's click on that, and it changes my buttons to that navy also. Now here's the thing, you're gonna see that the inside is still gray. If you click on that, you also need to change that as well. So I'm gonna do this in the lighter color. And see how I've done that? And it didn't just change that one button, it changed this one too. So whatever embellishment that you're doing, it applies it to all of them. So that's kind of nice. You can also do the same thing over here when you're adding in embellishments too, that you can go in and drag and drop. If I want a button over here, I can just drag it here and drop it and then change the color. And you've got all these same colors to choose from, and not just in buttons, but we've got metals, ribbons, stitching, which I'm not going to go through all those, but you've got so many choices. Now, when you're ready to add your journaling, just click on your journaling box and it'll show up the font that they've kind of chosen. But if you don't love that font, know that you've got a lot of different fonts to choose from. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and just leave that. And then we just click on this to start typing, and I'll just put, of course I'm going to put more than this, but just so you can see how easy it is to just start journaling. Now if we click on scale, it'll take whatever it is that I've typed and it'll fill in that space. So I can keep typing here. Let me highlight all of this. Gay broke his wrist. If I, because this is chosen to be scaled, if I keep typing, that's gonna get smaller. Gay broke his wrist today playing football. See how it automatically just fills the space, so you don't have to worry about changing anything. It's so nice. And then if I want to over here, I can do the same thing. Oops, let me highlight that. Or you can just click on edit text and that'll highlight everything. And then you can put whatever the date is, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you can see how easy that is to do. Now here's another thing that I will show you. We can go down here and click on the stickies, and this will basically pull up anything that you would normally get if you were buying the stickies or the complements to match it. So you can see up here, there's this drop down box. This will show an alphabet. So if I want to put a title on here, I can do that from here. Or if I want to look through, it'll take everything that did come in those stickies and it subdivides them. So let's see what titles just automatically came in with that stickies when I bought it. And you've got all of these. So look at this. This says Adventurous Time. That actually might fit. So I can pull this over here and stick it down if I want to, and then make it bigger or smaller. I decided I don't love that. But let's see what other things they have. You can load up tags and see if there's some tags you want to add to it. And all of these, they're just like your pictures. You just drag and drop them wherever it is that you want. You've got quotes. You have large and small accents. You've got all kinds of things on here. I kind of like this. I do it my way because he did a pretty good job breaking that. But you can go ahead and pull these over and use whichever one it is that you want. So let's just say I decide to put that over here. All you're doing is dragging and dropping that. Now remember, we've got that green plus sign. That means I can put that right there. If I want to put that somewhere where it won't fit, it would just show me a red X. Now if I want to make this bigger, I can do the same thing. I can make this whatever size I want. And that's another thing that's great. You don't really have that flexibility with traditional scrapbooking, but in Studio J, you do. And then I can go through and just keep looking on more and more things. And so this is just so easy and so fun. Now if I wanted to be done right here, I could be done. And really in about 10 minutes, you can put a really easy scrapbook page layout together. And you don't have to have a lot of know-how. It's pretty much kind of done for you. Now I will show you a couple other things. If I'm looking at this going, you know what, I kind of like this layout or this side of the layout better as my main one. I kind of want that here and then I want to swap places. If you go up here and highlight this and click on it, it just changes places with those two. Because sometimes there might be times you're finished and you go, you know, I feel like these need to be rearranged. Well, you know, this helps you look at it a little bit differently. I'm going to go ahead and just put it back the other way that I want it. Now, I'm not going to do this for this layout, but if I click on this one, this is especially nice when you're starting your layout and you've got it all ready to go before you add your pictures. If I click on this, it's gonna rotate my whole layout. So instead of having like these two pictures and a journaling box here, then they would be like facing this way or facing this way or facing this way, depending on how I keep rotating. So this layout will look totally different as you start either clicking this one for this side or this for this side. It'll just change it. But you can see I've got a layout done. And this, I mean, it's taken me, what, maybe 20 minutes to explain this to you. But once you get the gist of this, you can go ahead and just do these in no time at all. Now, I said at the beginning that you could change paper out. If we go down here to the paper, you're going to see all those same colors that kind of coordinate. Here's all the different background and texture papers, and here's all of the colors that coordinate. If I want to swap out this color and say, you know, I don't love that, let's try a different color, we can highlight that and choose a different paper color. They give you the recommended palette that already coordinates, but if you want to go outside of that and use all of Close to My Heart's colors, you can. That part's just up to you. So let's say I want to see if that looks any better in like maybe this darker gray. Let's click on that. And then it changes this one as well as anything else that coordinates. You know what? I don't love that. So I can either go back here and re-click on that color, or up here at the top, I love this button, this is undo, and it just undoes the last thing that you finished. So that's a good button that you're going to want to get very familiar with. So that is the rough and tumble basics of Studio J. There's obviously a lot more that I could show you, but these are the basics. The last thing I'm going to show you, because I use this all the time, what if I have finished this layout, but then I come across one more picture that I wanted to put in and I go, oh my gosh, I don't have any more room. I don't have to start from scratch. I can just add another photo box to here. Or I can change one of these text boxes and make this a photo well instead. So let's say if I'm looking at this, this is my text box, but if you go over here to this little shape of a face, it says convert to a photo well. Right now, if I wanted to put a photo here, it wouldn't let me because this is designed for journaling. But if I highlight this and then click on this, it changes this to another photo well. So I can just drag and drop another picture. And again, remember, you can resize these or do whatever it is you want. So let's say also that maybe I want to have a little, like another picture right here, a little mini picture of something. That's also very easy to do. If you go up here to this text and photo area, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you, there are lots of different things that you can add. You can add a journaling area, another title box. Again, this is as simple as just dragging and dropping. I want another photo well. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to drag this here, and it'll populate a new photo well that I can just make smaller. If I want it to be, if I want it to be a specific size, like I want it to be 2 by 2, then I can just do that. So maybe there's like a little mini picture that I want to include in there. I've just added another photo box. And then yeah, I would just go to my photos and just drag and drop that picture there, and it's super easy. You know, I don't need that, so I'm going to highlight it and just delete that. So just know you can add as many pictures as you want to your layout very, very easily. If you haven't played with Studio J, go play with it. Once you're done with this, just make sure you always click save, and then you're going to either add another layout while you're working in this theme, or go click on Buy Project, and it'll let you look at it, make sure you're happy with it, and add it to your cart. So this is designed as just a basic overview, but if you haven't done anything with Studio J, go play with it. It is really a pretty incredible thing, and I'm hooked. I'm completely addicted. I love traditional scrapping, but I use this in addition to my scrapbooking. We may do another video later on down the road where I show you some of the other fun things that you can do, like adding photo, journaling right on top of your photo, and some other things. But for today, we're going to keep this as a pretty basic video. I hope you've taken the time to watch it. Have a great day, and go play with Studio J. You're going to love it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.